Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the first annual ESRI Centres of Excellence App Challenge walkthrough of tips and tricks to get started and to get up and running quickly so that you can build your app in the week that you have available to you for the app challenge as quickly and as efficiently as possible. What we're going to do this morning is present to you a series of video clips. First of all, I'm going to provide a background and introduction to a following series of clips that are produced by Cam Plouffe, first of all, and then latterly by Michael Lubert, and then I think back to Cam for the last one. From my point of view, I want to provide you with some words of advice in terms of how you can set yourselves up most efficiently to do as well as you possibly can in this app challenge competition. So first of all, as far as starting out is concerned, my main advice to you here would be get organised early. And by early, I mean as soon as these videos are available to you, you should watch them and listen to them. And then after you've done that, you can kick into a process that follows through the points on this first PowerPoint slide. My advice would be to meet as a group at least once before the contest starts on the 27th. I would recommend meeting perhaps 2 or 3 times together so that you can get to know each other if you don't already know each other. If you do know each other, then you can start to set about assigning tasks to one another and assign roles within your group. So first of all, the main role that you need to assign at the beginning is who is going to do what. This generally depends on strengths that you have and interests that you may have in GIS work. If we assume that you have a team of 3, which is the maximum number, there are 3 roles that you can assign. First of all, if you have somebody that's particularly strong in coding and interested in coding, then that individual should be assigned the coder role. Secondly, if you have someone that's interested in user interface design and how to make use of an app a more pleasing and rewarding experience, then that individual should take on the task of designing the user interface for your app. And thirdly, and not the least importantly by any means, somebody needs to be assigned the role of finding data that you can use to run your app on, and then to manage the process of data development and data use through the development period. Now clearly, if you have a team of 2 or a team of 1, in a team of 1 you have to be a jack of all trades. So the individual is going to have to develop the app by coding if that's required, to design and implement the user interface, and then also to go off and find the data as well as put together the video and presentation package of the app once it's built. So first of all, get these roles assigned and be comfortable with them in your group. Secondly, after you've done that, you need to think about the week that you have to develop your app, and that's why I noted that it's important to get started early. Set some deadlines within the week so that you don't work organically and then by the Wednesday or the Thursday realize that you have 1 day left to put everything together or to put a user interface in place that is rewarding for use of your app. Put these deadlines in place at the beginning of the week and stick to them as rigidly as you possibly can, so that you don't panic and rush at the end of it, and you can do your development in an orderly manner. And finally, which is going to be the bulk of today's video presentations, is decide on a development platform that you want to build your app on. And once you've made that decision, my advice to you would be don't deviate away from it. A further word of advice that isn't shown on the slide is do your very best not to over-complexify the app that you build. Simplicity is generally better in a contest of this nature. So don't try and build the most innovative and most complex and developed, highly developed app that you possibly can, but think about building something that's easy to use, that's easy to implement, that's highly functional, that's interesting, and that is useful. And if you can tick all of those boxes, then you'll be able to come away from this at the end of the competition with an app that is extremely useful and will be very competitive in terms of the final judging. So in terms of the latter point on this slide, decide on a development platform, there are a number of options for you to consider carefully. And as I've noted at the top of this slide, spend more time in your earlier discussions on important decisions that you have to make. Think through them very carefully, and that'll help you make a decision that will be beneficial to you in the long run. In terms of platform, there are basically 5 options that you can work with. And we're going to cover aspects of each of these options in the following videos. I've highlighted the platform in these bullet points in red. The first is ArcGIS Desktop. You can build an extension for desktop if you're interested in doing that. But in order to do that, you should have a developer in your team that is a Python programmer or somebody that can program in C# in the .NET environment. So an important consideration to make in this context is to have somebody that's comfortable in working with those 2 languages. Secondly, development platform option number 2 is ArcGIS Server. And if you decide to work with the server environment, you should have somebody that's a confident and comfortable JavaScript programmer and somebody that's got experience with building a customized web interface for a web map service. So that's an important consideration to make there as well. The third option is the Web App Builder Developer Edition. And in this context, JavaScript coding is also important, but with the Web App Builder environment, there are a fairly large, a reasonable number of out-of-the-box widgets that you can include in your app basically by dragging and dropping with relatively little in the way of customization required. So that's option number 3. Option number 4 is ArcGIS Online. And in this environment, you can build an app by selecting an appropriate template, really without doing any coding at all. You may want to write a little bit of code if you want to build your ArcGIS Online product into a web map, an existing web map. So you can get away with doing minimal coding in this option. And the fifth option is probably the most complex of the lot, and that's if you want to build a mobile phone or ArcPad or some other form of mobile device application. If you want to do that, you have to be comfortable programming with Objective-C for iOS as a platform, or a Java programmer for the Android platform. And you also need to have some experience or feel confident enough to be able to use the SDKs, the Esri SDKs for either of those 2 platforms to build the app that you're interested in. So there'll be more on each of these environments in the videos that are to follow. Just final point really from me is some rules of engagement, not the ones that you see in the right-hand bottom corner of the slide. But there are 5 or 6 points here that I just want to run through with you so you're aware of these as you have your initial discussions. Your app has to be developed using Esri technology. Clearly it's an Esri App Challenge competition. So Esri software has to be a large part of what you build. But you can use open source components. We are very keen on seeing, in a general sense, how the open source world can interface well with Esri technology. It's not a requirement, it's an option for you. But if you feel that there is an open source module or component or add-in that you would like to see interfaced with an Esri technology component, then by all means feel free to build that. Secondly, your app has to use open data. And there are, later in the presentation, there will be some advice for you as to where you can get open data resources. And once you find out the themes of the competition, you can very quickly source some open data and download that and use it in the development of your app. The third point is that any written code in this competition should use the GPL license. The code must be open, and it has to be placed in the GitHub repository that's made available for your team. So we want to encourage openness in the development of these applications. That's not to say that you lose any rights that you have to the app that you develop. All intellectual property in this competition belongs to the creators. In other words, any IP that you create through the app that you build is yours. It's not Esri's, it's yours. So be aware of that. And finally, and perhaps importantly, help will be available to you during the week of the competition. Several of the staff here within Esri Canada will be available via email to help you with the development of your app. If you reach a roadblock and you're unsure how to get something working, then you can email in and one of the staff will be available to provide you with some advice. So finally, that's all I really want to say for my part of these videos. The next series of videos will provide you with advice on where to go and what to do in what sequence. We're going to start with web and mobile development with Cam. He's going to walk you through setting up a developer account in ArcGIS Online, publishing a feature service, creating a web map, and then moving beyond that into greater detail. After Cam has presented his component, then we'll switch across to Michael and he'll tell you about things that he's going to work with. So from my point of view, I'd just like to wish you all the very best of luck. We're excited about this competition. It's the first time we've done this. I know your profs, the directors of each of the centres at the schools that you come from are equally excited about it. And so we're all rooting for you to do the best possible job that you can. And there are going to be no losers in this competition. You're all going to produce something from it that you can be very proud of. So good luck, all the best, and over and out from me.